movies. They kick the server, and it's like, it works.
No.
Chat room wants to know how many boobs per dollar. We could range for a lot of boobs because Jay knows people.
This is true. Or, if you want to donate directly, I can get you out to one of our parties where there's a donation bucket and lots of boobs. And you can just keep a count of all the boobs you see. And if that's how you want to donate, that's fine.
Anyway.
I'm kind of into this idea.
This is your burners thing, right?
Yeah. It's Burners Without Borders and our local events down here. There's always boobies. There's literally people dancing around with nothing but glow sticks on the beach right now because I just got a picture of that.
Cool.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That is so not my thing.
I don't prance around naked on the beach because it's fucking sandy and no.
Get sand in places you never wanted to.
But lots of people do dance around and prance around naked on the beach frequently. This has happened at least once a week for the past month.
I wish I didn't have a job. That'd be nice.
Fuck you, man. All right.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
Reb, you had some incest thing. I can't wait to see what the hell this is about.
Well, I just, I guess first I just want to kind of.
You did stop in the recordings and all that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's all done.
First I just want to kind of poll, like, what is everyone's position on incest? Let's start with Jay.
Can you refine the question? What is my position on incest?
Like, are you okay with
doggy
or
actual incest?
Not like for you, but just in society in general. What is your view on incest?
If it's between two consenting adults, then it's none of my fucking business.
Christian?
I would largely go with that. So let me say this, because I think that there is a public interest in reducing like crazy, messed up kids from being born. So I agree with that. But I also think that most people don't understand genetics and how the probabilities of that stuff happening are.
That's true. And I will refine my statement as long as it's between two consenting adults who are not impregnating one another. I'm good with it.
And Susan?
In theory, it's just like Jay. It's like two consenting adults, blah, blah, blah. Personally, I'd probably be a little...
No, personally,
I'm not interested personally.
Yeah, no.
The student Ghetto in the chat room says that he thinks it's
okay
only okay in Game of Thrones, and I agree with that because
it was hot.
Anything that gets me some Khaleesi, I'm okay with.
This is a topic of taboos when it comes to why is it a thing, and I think a large part of that is that it's a taboo, and obviously different people have different whatevers as far as taboos and sexuality go, but that is definitely something that drives that. I mean, some people like to fuck animals because it's a taboo or whatever. I don't know the psychology behind it, but
that's different.
That you can't consent if you're an animal, right? I'm just saying. Yeah. It's a taboo thing. So there are lots of people who have incest fantasies and act that out with their non-familial partners or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure, but I think that has to do more with the forbidden more than it does with actual incest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Actual incest.
It's kind of gross.
Yeah, I mean it's a little. It's a little.
I don't know. Some people think gay sex is gross, but it's okay for most people.
Sure.
I'm not going to judge you if that's what you and your kin want to do with one another.
All right. Well,
what's the point of this?
To walk it back a little bit. So what you were saying about children born with birth defects and everything. So you would say you would not support it in cases where a man and a woman are producing children.
Well, no, it depends.
It does depend
because people's understanding of genetics is pretty flawed, and
it is entirely possible to produce a child that is without defect.
Yes.
If done if you don't breed back to the belly. It's an old farm. It's an old farm adage. You don't breed back to the belly.
What does that mean?
It was used for animals. So as long as the son is not producing a child with the mother, it is generally safe to produce an animal that is
How is
not
this something that
defective.
was so common that they came up with a phrase for it?
Agricultural societies.
Agricultural societies. I mean, they have large litters of animals like pigs and stuff.
Yeah, they have to
Yeah.
breed them to something. So.
Right. So they had to.
Oh,
They figured out.
so it
we're
wasn't
talking
about the people.
No,
Right,
no,
okay.
no.
Yeah.
No.
I'm talking. It's an old farm saying.
So let's say it is the mother and the son who are in a consensual relationship and they intend to produce children.
Not okay with it.
Yeah,
Not okay.
I think the state has a.
Well, I'm not talking
interest.
about what laws are in place. I'm just saying.
Not okay with it because you're going to produce an inferior human.
This is what I'm driving at right here.
You're going to produce an inferior human.
We're gonna go right back to what Dawkins said, which is
Well, no, his is for aborting something that's inferior. This is for
well,
even
what I'm
having one in
saying.
the first
But I mean,
place.
it's the same thing because he was saying bringing a diseased child. I don't know if that's Down syndrome is a disease is immoral, and what you're saying is that
Your
the
intent
same
to create
thing.
one. No,
Yeah.
there's a difference because in Rebs.
Because you intend
yes,
to create
there is.
one whether
You're in-
whatever happens. Because you love each other, you're going to make a kid.
Right.
Right.
Well, I
And
want to have a
you're not
child, and
intending-
maybe
you're not intending
Maybe
to
it's
create
going to
that.
have Down syndrome. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's going to be some genetic freak. Maybe it's not. I just want a kid with my mom. And
I have told you guys
Oedipus
the
complex.
story. I have told you guys the story about my boss.
oh,
Oh God, I've
No.
not told you the incest story.
I'm interested now, so please
go.
tell. It's post show, so
The fact
no
that,
hold bars.
that you say the incest story worries me. That you have an incest
the-
story.
the incest.
There's this one that
So,
outweighs all the others.
My boss, who became a good friend of mine, back in Arkansas, and of course it's an Arkansas story. She gave her child up for adoption at a very young age, and later on in life, they reconnected, and he was living with his family in Canada, his adoptive family, and he got into trouble, and they sent him to live with his mom for a little while. He was 19 at the time, and I was really close friends with her, as was my now ex-wife. And they became, obviously they were good friends, and they began forming the relationship that a mother and son do. She winds up a few months after he moves into the house divorcing her husband and leaves. And like, we go out into public with these guys and everybody's like, oh wow, you guys are a couple? And I'm like, they're like, no, we're mother and son. And I, being close to the situation, didn't realize it. My ex-wife was telling me there's something wrong with this relationship. The stories that were happening and the seeing things, and I was just like, you're crazy. She turns up pregnant, and she was dating a friend of mine. A friend, she tells me it's his, so I go to my friend. I said, dude, you need to take care of this. He's like, well, that's impossible because we haven't had sex. So she's crazy. And I'm like, well, I trust this guy, so okay, sure. I also trust her, so I don't know what the fuck's going on. Long story short, she has the child. It is a stillborn. And another one of our friends, I, throughout the process of this, would no longer speak with her. Not because of that, but for other reasons. The son's name was named as the father on the death certificate.
Damn.
She fucked her kid and had a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not good.
See, I think the thing especially with parent-child ancestral relationships is there's supposed to be this entirely different, like,
Power dynamic.
yeah, like a power dynamic and sort of how they associate with each other and everything. And once it goes from, parent-child to partner, it's like that's where there's a skew in how you're viewing this person.
It's a known psychological thing with the adoption thing. It's, I don't know the name of it, but it's an actual diagnosed thing that happens frequently.
Well, I mean, that's what happened with Oedipus.
Well, to drive it back to the point with birth defects and everything. So we say, okay, this would be bad because there's a very high chance that it's going to be born with some sort of birth defects.
Yeah.
So say someone with some sort of congenital Lou Gehrig's disease or something, right? Should they be allowed to breed if they have a high chance of passing that on to their children?
Or
question.
a 100% chance.
There
Because
are,
there are couples who can be told based on genetic tests,
It's true.
if you have a child, your child will have this horrific disease.
And should we bar those two individuals from becoming?
Yes.
It depends on the. I think it depends on the disease.
I agree with that.
If
yeah,
that
if it's
human,
like he's gonna have like really bad allergies. Okay,
if the human can lead a productive, fulfilling life into a certain point, and then they're going to, fucking degrade at the age of 30 to, just a complete fucking jumbled mess and they're veggie, then okay, that's
like
probably
ALS.
something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can see where that person has 30 productive years of humanity. Is it cruel to that person? Yes, perhaps. But what could that person do in 30 years? They can also get hit by a bus at the age of 18. You never know. If it's something where we know the kid is going to pop out and never be able to speak,
Ta-da.
or he's going to be
Back into one of these things.
yeah. If he's going to have some sort of severely debilitating disease that causes them to have a very, 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 very low I don't know, quality of life, I guess. Why would you do that? Why would you create something just to suffer?
Well, because what it comes down to is now you have to assign value to certain diseases
It's a
and certain,
spectrum.
you have to decide where is your cutoff point. You know.
I'll have no problem doing that.
So no, I'm just,
No doubt.
and that was
No
kind of the
problem.
conversation I was having with my friend. It's like, where would you draw that line at? It's like I have no idea where I would draw that line.
I'm not saying it would be an easy line to draw, but
I think it would be relatively easily. I don't think it would be easy to create a policy that was all encompassing. But if you told me this disease, I'd be like, check. Yes, that's
Case by case basis.
yeah. I mean, you give me a disease, I will tell you whether I think that is acceptable or not.
Student Ghetto asked, do the odds matter with the disease to determine if they can breed?
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. It could be, you have a 50% chance of producing
Yeah.
someone with
No, it
type 1
does.
diabetes or whatever. Should you be able to? Yeah.
Right. That's again, I don't think it's an easy line to draw.
I think it's immoral to allow a type 1 diabetes child to be born.
In all technicality, a good majority of children that have diabetes, the type 1 diabetes, are not born with it.
Oh yeah, it develops later in life, right? But
if you could develop a test, you should just kill those kids.
What about
You can go fuck yourself.
what about
Thank you for not saying that during the show, by the way.
what about STDs? Like if the child is going to be born with an STD because the mother has it.
C-section.
AIDS?
There's a barrier.
Is there?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. So
didn't
when
know that.
children who get AIDS typically get it
As they
in
pass.
the birth
Through the
canal.
birth canal.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought it was
Nope.
passed on because they were sharing
Typically
the same
not.
blood.
Typically not. And in fact, that's a common misconception. Typically, they're not sharing the same blood.
It's true. The child does
exactly.
have its, but
Yeah.
it's getting its blood. Well, yeah.
It's getting nutrients.
right. Interesting. Cool.
that was what I wanted to talk about.
Student Ghetto says, I think an insulin box is hot.
Show everyone your box, Susan. Oh, come on. Show them your box.
So were we going
I will show them
were we going
the
to talk
insulin
about were we going
box.
to talk about Reddit? Is that what we're going to talk about?
No.
Oh, yeah, was it Gone Wild Reddit and
not
Susan's
talking
experiences
about that.
there?
Strippers? Were we going to have strippers?
I don't know what we're going to talk about.
No, something about you won't date them or they're
Yeah,
crazy or something.
I've actually broken a rule. I'm pretty much dating an ex-stripper, which is
I know that.
is a rule that I normally don't. I normally don't cross that line.
But
And
she's got a really good head on her shoulders.
she does, yeah.
She really
she's,
does.
She's an intelligent human
she's
being.
good
It's
people.
about yay big.
The human head weighs
8
how
pounds.
much? 8 pounds, 6 pounds? I don't know.
It's a responsible, intelligent human being who is no longer doing stupid things like dancing. So
But can you really say that that's a stupid thing to
Yeah,
do
not
100% of the time?
necessarily.
Come on, man.
100% of the
That's
time,
like-
no.
That's
100% of
good
the
money
time,
right there.
no.
That is
That's
good
what I'm saying.
money.
Like if
I had the body for it, I would do it.
if I was able to do that through and put myself through college, hell
Straight up.
yeah.
Straight
The
up.
reason I don't date and don't
Because you're a
associate with
bigot.
strippers is because I'm a bigot. Is because there is a high
bigot.
chance of things like drug use. There's a very high chance
Based
of
on what?
talk to any stripper.
No.
The
you're talking
environmental
You're talking about
factors.
anecdotal evidence.
Talk to any stripper. There's a much higher chance that there's drug use, that there's unprotected sex, things like that going on. I don't mean unprotected sex for money, although that is a high probability, depending on the club. There's just a whole slew of shit that goes on with the majority of girls who dance for money. What are you giggling at?
Hold on, let me get this stat. Another study by the American Sociological Association published in its Journal of Health and Social Behavior found that 35% of strippers have multiple personality disorders.
You know, it really comes
See
in
what I'm
handy for
saying?
their shows.
Yeah, I
though.
know, right?
It really does.
60% had major depressive episodes, and 55% have borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
Did you say?
Wait.
Is my point?
Did you say multiple personality?
Well, yeah,
Okay,
no,
wait,
they're
wait.
classifying borderline and multiple personality as essentially the same thing.
So I thought
now.
multiple personality disorder was like super duper rare.
It is super duper
Yeah.
rare.
But 30% of all strippers.
Let me just say that my source is as good as Jay's source is. It was Colorado Sex 2010.wordpress.com.
Okay, yeah, that's not a very good source.
Yeah, that's not
You
a
can
good
take
source.
that totally seriously, almost as seriously as Breitbart.
Okay.
I lived.
6 facts about strippers you didn't know.
I spent every day.
Was that a BuzzFeed article?
A cracked article.
CBS.
Oh,
My-
wow.
Wait, let me go ahead.
I was just saying, my source is not that incredible. I spent almost every day of 3
It's
months
anecdotal
in
bullshit.
a fucking strip club.
Right.
He conducted his
it's
own
anecdotal
research.
bullshit.
It is.
Okay, so number
And
one.
it was only one strip club, and you only had
Sure,
like,
it was
20,
only
30 people subjects.
6 facts about strippers that you didn't know. Number one, while 40.2% of strippers do it as their only job, the rest have a day job too. And the most common one is education.
Nice.
That's right. 1 in 7 strippers are teaching your children.
I'm okay with that.
All right. Number 2.
As long as they don't have multiple personality disorder.
Which teacher's showing up
Mental
today?
health jokes.
Even though every time you get a lap dance, it seems like the stripper talks about her kids, only 13.5% of strippers actually have children.
Probably confirmation bias.
don't think I've-
with
okay.
that stuff.
I don't think I've ever had a stripper talk to me about her kids, but okay.
That would not make for a good lap dance.
Do you just make the stripper not talk then?
I've had one talk about it like her dad before. He was apparently a super cool guy though, and like totally supported her and everything.
Oh, okay,
So,
that's cool.
yeah. It didn't go as bad as I thought it was going to be. This was pretty
And
good
this is
too.
this is a good prelude to our sex show because this is like so opposite of what we should be talking about in terms of sex workers and all
Yeah,
that
it
stuff.
really is.
All right, but let's continue.
Hate you guys.
Number 3, only 9.5% of strippers are married. That's less than 1 out of 10. Thanks, guy.
Math.
This is BuzzFeed, isn't it?
No, it's CBS. Okay.
Are there, was this person taught under Common Core? Is that what's going on?
Yes, they were.
Oh
No.
Oh, that was super fabulous.
The average number 4, the average stripper makes $379 per shift and averages between 3 and 5 shifts per week. To do the math here, that means an average of $1,137 and $1,895 a week, or $59,000 and $98,000 a year before taxes and expenses.
They're not.
What kind of expenses does a?
That's what I was about to go into. They're not accounting.
Costumes?
They're not accounting for clothing.
But how much could that? There's like clothing.
You
is
would
like
be
this-
surprised.
kidding
But those
me?
shoes?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Dude,
no,
You just
These
buy
were
well, like
donk.
2 pair of shoes, you're good. Just
No,
switch them out every
they
night.
spend fucking money on
They
products,
do.
on
What
clothes,
products?
glitter, makeup.
okay.
But that's for
Yeah,
their own
hair
personal,
stuff.
whatever they
Shit.
want to do though.
That's true, but they make
It's
more
still
money.
business
They're
expenses.
still bringing in a lot of money
They
every month.
You know how hairstylists have to pay for
Their
a booth.
product, yeah.
They have to pay for a booth.
Oh, well,
That's
yeah.
the same thing. They have a fee every night. When they come in, they have to pay a fee to the house in order to dance.
Probably tip out to the bartender too.
They do tip out their cocktail
We
waitresses
need to
and the
we need
bartenders.
to get a stripper on our sex show. When that
Oh, you
happens.
know what? I have had a stripper talk about her kid because she was lactating. That's right.
I've actually seen that occur. Like I've seen someone get sprayed in the face. But the student ghetto in the chat room says a lap dance is always better when the stripper is crying, which is just awful.
Worst line I've ever heard used that worked. I bet you're beautiful when you cry.
Oh Jesus!
Might have come out of my mouth.
Number you are an awful human being.
You are an awful human being.
Number 5, 3/4 of strippers said their job satisfaction is between 7 and 10 on a scale of 0 to 10. No stripper said it's between 0 and 2.
Can we go from a scale of 5 to 10?
The things that make them most satisfied are the hours, getting paid right away, and getting paid. Number 6, the things that strippers like the least are not knowing how much money they'll make, having to lie about their job, rude and abusive customers, and having lost all respect for men, which I think that's the one thing that really sticks out to me is like, you are probably dealing with the lowest of the low, scummiest of the scum.
Hey, what
Like
do you say?
Jay.
You won't find me in a strip club. Ever.
No, all my friends are all
You
spoken
just
for
said
now,
you've
so
been
I have
in
no
a-
one to
in
go
strip
with.
You will not find me in a strip club
Anymore.
again. Okay, anymore. Ever again. How's
Is now a
that?
bad time to mention that you have glitter on your face?
You're glittering?
Am I?
He had some glitter on his face.
You have glitter on your face.
I'm wearing eyeshadow. He's not.
So what have you two been doing?
Hey.
I got. Never
You
mind.
son of a bitch.
I have a type.
It was great, and you know it.
Yeah, it's type 2, right?
She was.
I hate you. Just clip the shit out of that, but I don't care.
When you put on Facebook the other day the diabetes jokes things, not funny, I saw that, and the person I was with at the time and I started trying to come up with diabetes jokes because we couldn't think of any.
Well, it's a lot of the stuff that's like, oh, this is gonna give me diabetes. Oh, this is diabetes in a cup, and it's just all like, dude, you don't fucking understand this shit if you're gonna fucking say that. It's a basic non-understanding.
It's just comments from
of
ignorance.
shit.
Yeah.
Why are you pointing at your dick?
No.
Let me tell you.
No.
Can I tell you?
Are you thinking about our box again?
Ken Sai 87 in the chat room says he has never been to a strip club. Who has never been to a strip club in this room? Have you? Have you?
Once, but
Susan has. You have.
I've been
I've never-
multiple times.
I've never been as a patron.
Oh, really?
I got a lap dance from a lesbian stripper.
How was that?
Interesting.
I gotta say, like the most disturbing thing I ever saw in a strip club was
Go ahead. Just raising my hand for next.
the stripper and a lesbian, and she like stripped her mostly naked, and then like was like pouring beer. It was weird.
I'm going to bet the stripper wasn't actually a lesbian, unless you knew her personally as a lesbian. They'll
I
say
think the
shit.
person who I was with was there.
Okay. So
That
we're going to go
we
with
were-
weirdest stripper stories.
Okay, go.
Oh, boy. I'm not sure.
It's the only one I have.
I'm
I was
not sure.
drunk.
I'm not
too.
sure if it's peg leg stripper or lactating stripper.
Peg leg.
I didn't actually see that either one of these, but a good friend of mine went to. Well, actually, I could probably get my brother in here. He went to Taiwan. But yeah, a buddy of mine said the Fox's Den, which is now closed. It's down. It's down on Staples, I think. It was a really, really, really shitty strip club.
Oh yeah, over on like over by
Like
6
by
points.
6 points, yeah.
Yeah, I passed by it the
Oh.
other day and somebody goes, "Hey Susan, have you ever been in there?" And I'm all like, "No."
Apparently, they had a peg leg stripper, a stripper with a fake leg, and a stripper who was lactating.
That
on
was,
the same
the
night.
peg leg thing would be like a selling point for me. I was like, I just want to go there to see the
No.
peg leg stripper.
The only
but just to
thing,
see it,
It's
you
a very
know.
niche market.
Yeah.
Peg leg strippers.
The only thing they could do is do the pirate thing.
No. I mean, that's all I want to see. I just want to see
Pirate
it.
stripper
Yeah.
man.
This is so. When I moved to Texas, the first week I was here, 3 different people on 3 different days got stabbed at strip clubs in Corpus Christi, and I was like, nope, I'm
Cheetah?
not interested.
Cheetah, the
someplace
Palace.
down at on Leopard. I don't know what that one
Ooh,
was.
dude, I know which one. Cabaret.
I can't remember. It was like 5 years ago.
I've only
so-
been to the Palace on.
I've never been to a strip club in Corpus Christi.
Oh, one of
because-
them might have been
because of
Bottoms
this.
Up,
I'm like,
too.
I don't want to be stabbed. So
Bottoms up is skeevy.
Just make sure you go with friends and.
Yeah,
I gotta
don't
say-
go by yourself.
Yeah.
So, literally, St. Louis, best place to go to. Not St. Louis, East St. Louis,
I was gonna say, hold on, let's clarify here.
best place to go to a strip club.
And why is that?
Because you should just go.
Actually, now that I think about it, I was in Canada and I went to a strip club there. It was a fully nude one, and these ladies were like athletes. Like they were doing the deal with the pole, and they were like doing the walking in midair thing, and
There's a
was
reason they
amazing.
do. There's a reason they do like pole dancing classes for.
yeah, these were just
Athletic
weren't some lady just like just give me money. Like these were like legitimate like athletes.
athletes.
Like it was
Hardcore. No,
amazing.
dude,
Sounds pretty
it's-
It was
yeah.
amazing.
That's awesome. I just remember. I'm not a big strip club guy, but went to Mardi Gras one year and went to the strip clubs there, and I was like, yawn. After having been to East St. Louis.
Concise87 says the stabberay, you mean?
That was probably it. That was probably
Totally it. Oh my God.
Yeah, I want to go back to Canada. Just go back to that strip club. That was amazing.
Stripper dropping Benoit balls around the club to see who would pick them up and hand them back. Wow.
That's special.
That is a bored woman.
Bored as in like boring a hole?
No. Who else has something
That
to
would have
talk
been
about?
funnier amongst mechanics, goddammit.
I
That was
guess.
lost on
I
me.
I
don't
suppose so. Oh, so it was the
was
etymology of words.
I didn't have a
Yes.
chance to do any research on that. It was an idea that I had.
What was your?
What was the idea? Because
Well, I wanted to. Last week we discussed the dude, man, guys thing or whatever, and that just got me thinking about some of the origins, and not necessarily the etymology per se, but the origins of their use.
Okay.
To see
How
if we
they
could,
evolve.
yeah, to trace back not only those words but other words that could potentially be along the same vein. And I didn't have a chance to flesh out the idea, but
Well, I imagine a lot of what you're talking about is how, very, very often we say the organizations that you find that have like family and liberty and patriot and stuff like that, the organizations you find that have those words are the ones that you can tell right off the bat that those are the conservative
connotations
nut
of
job organizations because so many associations have had names with words like that.
sure.
That it's just sort of how you kind
That's
of have.
not at all where I was going to go. I was going to do my best to avoid all that.
Okay, I was actually going to use a stripper example to say there's some names that you associate with strippers
That's
because
true.
yeah,
That's true. There are. Charity. Absolutely.
So the word guy, just because I started randomly looking, it comes from the male proper name from French, but it's related to Italian Guido. No kidding.
Guido.
Wow.
Wow. So I had a friend who really, really, really got pissed off when he would hear someone say that they were gypped out of something.
Yes,
that's
He was a
understandable.
gypsy.
Yeah.
And it never occurred to me the origin of that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's
It makes me a little bit worried about the name of my cat too.
what's your name's cat.
Gypsy Rose.
That's okay. That's okay.
Gypsy Rose.
Well,
Why?
because Gypsy Rose is a burlesque dancer, so
You named your cat after a pseudo stripper?
I adopted my cat. She was old and declawed.
I agree with Candace. Yes, Candace is definitely a stripper name.
Really?
Yeah.
Candace?
Yeah, Candace is Lexus. Anyone named after a car is
Candy,
just white
okay.
trash or black.
I don't.
I'm sorry.
I don't ask for the names when I'm at strip clubs. So, yeah.
You know they're fake anyway, right?
What was I going with that?
I have no idea. Guy and
He says
This is an
Mercedes,
awesome-
but he just spaced it. I was like,
Me
me recedes?
Scarlett. Super stripper name. That is a stripper
Oh,
name.
that makes me sad because my cousin's daughter's name is Scarlett.
She's gonna be a stripper.
She's like
She'll be a
14.
scripper? What's
She's-
a scripper?
You know what's really sad is she's 14 and she actually is like doing dance classes.
She was born to be a stripper.
Damn it. Poor kid.
She's gonna go into ballet, and everyone's gonna respect her and everything. It's gonna be great.
And then she's going to take that hip hop class and it's just going to all go down from there.
She's gonna
Twerking and
start twerking.
Booty popping.
Let's go back to being serious for a minute because like I often think about, I mean, do you know strippers, Jay?
Not many.
Really? Okay.
Why?
I don't really know many either. So I was just hoping maybe you could add something to this conversation. But
I have known
I
strippers.
like having been to strip clubs and observed the behavior of other men. Having been to an all-male high school and observed the behavior of other men, I can't help but think that being involved in that industry would have an influence on your opinion of men.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The strippers I have known well, and I mean, some of them I didn't know well that would discuss amongst themselves when I was spending so much fucking time in the back of a strip club.
Like
yeah.
you do.
Yeah, absolutely. It has a huge effect when you're dealing with, like you said, the scummiest, douchiest people. And, honestly, in life, they're probably not all that scummy and douchey, but when you put them in that situation,
Yeah.
they turn into gummy douchebags.
Well, and it's sort of, I mean, doing, I wouldn't say anything in the service industry, but doing stuff as a female in like waitressing and bartending jobs and stuff like that, where you basically have to appeal to people. And a lot of times, regardless of how much you want to say you don't have to, you do have to use your sexuality in order to actually get the money you want to.
You don't have to, but it is a very easy.
It's more lucrative.
It's the easiest way to make more money.
Well, and I just your sexuality will be used if you don't use it. I mean,
It's true.
you know, I mean, just being a waitress, you're gonna get grabbed. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's gonna happen,
Or
right?
whistled
Grabbed.
at. Or,
Grabbed.
Yeah.
If I saw someone grab a waitress, I would unseat myself and beat the fuck out of that person.
I doubt that. I honestly doubt that.
You don't
That
think
happened
I
to
would
me.
beat the fuck out of
No.
someone? Okay, I might be. That might be hyperbole. You're right. I probably would. Because I
You'd
don't.
want to.
I don't make it a point to actually.
I would
make it a point to
literally
not,
go and
but
be, well.
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
I would get out of my seat.
You would
and I
be-
would have
you
a
would be
stern
distressed.
fucking
Be
discussion.
he would be doing the presidential thumb.
You would be distressed, as would I.
Yeah, that's happened to me twice, actually. That happened to me once when I worked at Brewster Street and once when I worked at Roadhouse. And it was, I mean, I always found whenever I was working at Roadhouse, right when I started going to CCA stuff, like I was a lot thinner. Like I generally sort of was always like, oh, I'm going to wear, you know, hair and makeup and everything like that. I found that I got more in tips. I was able to talk to more people. People would be more willing to talk to me.
Just the tip.
Yes, it actually was just the tip because I wasn't going home with them.
Just checking.
I only ever went out on a date with like one dude that I met when I worked at Roadhouse, like at Roadhouse.
There's an etymology to that word we just wanted to clear up.
Yeah, just for the record. No, but it's amazing what dudes will think that they can get away with just because you are in essentially a position
role.
of service. Yeah. You know, I had a lot of dudes, you know, ask me if, you know, they could have my number if we could go out or something, and I would always be like, no, I've got a policy that I don't date customers. Or, you know, when I was married, it was really handy because I'd be like, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm married. And then when I got divorced, I was like, well, shit, there goes my excuse.
You ordered the nachos, and so clearly I'm out of your league.
If you had ordered the jalapeno poppers, I would consider it.
No, it goes the other way. You order the nachos, so clearly you're out of my league. That's what you say, just to fuck with me.
Well, I guess at the same time, it's like, you know, you're supposed to be nice to the guy or girl or whoever it is you're serving. So think, oh, well, that person's being really nice to me. They must be into me. So I should ask them out. So,
It's really, really easy for people to misconstrue,
Sweet
you know, the
Jesus.
difference between the friendliness and the actual interest.
I think this is a good note to end on. Student Ghetto in the chat room says, what did the prostitute say to the leper? Thanks for the tip.
Sounds
All right,
both
we'll
horrible
see
and
you
awesome.
guys next week. We're again reading David McAfee's book, Disproving Christianity. Pick it up.
And
Read
by
it.
we, he means
Everyone but
Jay.
Jay. Yes. See you guys.
Bye.
Later.